When we're writing a procedure, there's a certain language that we need to use to make the procedure easy to understand and to make the procedure with instructions that we can visualize. How do we create the sentences for a procedure? What do they need to begin with? Rebecca?
An effective verb or a sequencing verb.
I know what a verb is, but I'm not quite sure what an effective verb would look like or sound like. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at a procedure that's going to help us cook something. What kind of a procedure do you think it is?
Recipe.
We are going to look at a recipe today and see if we can find verbs in the recipe that will help us to understand what to do and to really find out if they're effective verbs or not. So, I'm going to hand you some supplies, and you're going to do the looking. Now that we have our supplies, we've got our clipboard, we've got a pencil, we've got a sticky note. Now let's look at the procedure of a recipe to find the effective verbs or the not so effective verbs. What's the first part in a recipe, Samantha?
The ingredients.
The ingredients. So let's read through our recipe first. And the recipe is for marvelous monkey muffins. Let's find out what we need in our marvelous monkey muffins. Ingredients. We need 1/4 cup of shortening. Then add 1/2 cup banana chips. 1/4 cup mini chocolate chips. Did you see any verbs at all in our ingredient list? Were there any verbs? If you did see one, can you write it down on your sticky note? And if you didn't see any, don't write it down. I saw one verb, one action word that told me to do something. Did you see one, Ryan?
Add.
Thank you. Add. Add is our first verb. What are you thinking so far about why would it be effective or not effective?
Add, you could visualize a little.
So if I can visualize a little, what does that mean? Trisha?
It means like you can look, you can see in your head what it looks like.
I can see it in my head. So now let's look at the recipe itself for more verbs and see how many of them we will be able to see in our head that are effective and how many of them we can't and that are not effective. Here are our directions. While we read the recipe, if you see a verb or hear a verb, any verb, whether you think it's effective or not, write it down. Here we go. Mix shortening, egg, and sugar in a large bowl. Now remember, there will be a verb in every sentence because a sentence must have a verb to be a sentence. Next sentence. Take a moment to write down all the verbs you think you saw, and we'll start back at the beginning. Mix shortening, egg, and sugar in a large bowl. Where's my verb? Yalda.
Mix.
Thank you. Mix. Add your mashed bananas, flour, salt, and baking soda, and stir well. Sometimes there's going to be more than one verb in a sentence. So you've chosen what you think are effective verbs on your sticky note by circling the effective verbs. Remind me what an effective verb in a procedure makes me do. Ryan?
It's supposed to hook you and it makes you want to read more.
It hooks me. What does that mean if that verb hooks me?
If it hooks you, it makes you want to read more, and it makes you more interested in the rest of it.
It makes me want to read more, and I'm more interested in the rest of the recipe. That's part of an effective verb. And what was the other reading strategy that happens with an effective verb that doesn't usually happen with a non-effective verb? Ryan?
You visualize. If you don't visualize, you don't really know what to do.
And especially in a procedure, I need to be able to understand what I'm going to do. And if I can make that picture in my head, visualize it in my head, then I really will understand what I'm reading and know what to do. So, did you have an effective verb that you circled on your sticky note? Let's share them. What have you got, Samira?
Decorate.
Can you visualize decorate in your head?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The author of the recipe might have chosen to say, put the banana chips on top, but they didn't. They instead decided to use decorate. Hey, now I really know what to do. What else did you find? What else was effective, Patricia?
Stir.
Thank you. Show me the motion of stirring. I know what to do. Let's think about some non-effective verbs. Instead of saying decorate, what could the author have used but didn't? Daniel?
Put.
Put. That would not have helped me to visualize. Would it have hooked me? I don't think so. Did anybody write down a verb from this recipe that they felt was not effective? Daniel?
Add is not really.
Tell me why.
Because like add, you can't visualize.
If I say to you, add milk to a recipe, are you going to cut it? You're going to chop it? Are you going to sprinkle it? What are you going to do? Show me the action you're going to use. So why not use the word pour instead? You know you're going to do that, and that's making you visualize, making you understand what to do. So that verb helps me to know what to do. So we know that when we're writing a procedure, as a reader, effective verbs help us to visualize and know what to do, and they hook us. They make us want to read more. And we know that non-effective verbs help us not very much, because we're not making a picture in our head, we're not visualizing, and we don't know what to do. So let's start writing a procedure with effective verbs.